Hi, have you ever been homeless? And could you tell that I have been? My name is Matthijs and I'm making a series of videos about being raised by narcissistic parents. I'm not a therapist, but I am somebody who can give you a first-hand witness account. So consider me a witness. Growing up in a narcissistic household, I was the scapegoat child. I was blamed for everything wrong with our family. Essentially, my narcissistic parents identified everything that was wrong with themselves with me. I basically was everything that was wrong with them. This set me on a course to try to win those tiny little scraps of love and appreciation unconditionally through academic achievement, through winning diplomas and medals, and through making money. At the same time, of course, I could never really succeed in this goal to win the appreciation of my narcissistic parents because they were never going to care. Yes, they cared very much about my achievements, but they would never care about me. I ended up spending much of my adult life trying to win the external validation, somehow proving that I am worthy and that I am a good enough person. I ended up graduating from university in a field that I couldn't care less about. I ended up starting an IT company, doing work eventually that I also couldn't care less about because I felt no internal validation and no motivation. Nothing energized me. I reached a point even where I had automated my work to the point where all I needed to do was respond to just a handful of support requests each week. Instead of becoming the Wagnerian hero, the Siegfried from the operas, I had become a button pusher and my life meant nothing to me. Luckily, around age 34, my business started to fail. Luckily, around age 34, my income stream from my business started to collapse. And in just 6 months' time, I became a bum. As my business started going bankrupt, I couldn't care less. I did nothing to stop it. In fact, to me it felt like a liberating opportunity for the first time in my life to stop doing things that I didn't care about and maybe start finding things that I did care about. It came to the point quite soon that I could no longer afford rent, and I decided to cancel my contract, sell all my belongings. I sold all my furniture, for example. I sold my bicycles. Everything that I still owned at that point fit into a small storage box, and I brought with me a backpack with some hiking and trekking gear because I was headed for Eastern Europe. I took the train from Amsterdam to Berlin and then south to Rome and on to southern Italy. There I crossed via ship to Greece. And from Greece, after a few days of vacationing there, I started moving my way up north in Eastern Europe, crossing Albania, Bulgaria, Romania, Poland, and Hungary. For almost 1.5 years, I spent my life living in hostels, meaning in rooms shared with 6 to 10 other people in a bunk bed. I was technically homeless. I didn't have a home to go home to anymore. But this experience of traveling around Eastern Europe finally showed me another way of life. You see, it turns out that according to a professor named Eddie Brommelman, the Amsterdam area in the Netherlands where I grew up has the highest concentration of people with narcissistic personality problems. In fact, Amsterdam is a narcissistic clusterfuck. I had to get away from there. And when I finally did, because my business went bankrupt and I went homeless, hiking through hostels in Eastern Europe, I met so many good people there who were furthest from the sort of narcissists who I had always sought out as friends in the Netherlands and elsewhere, who hurt me and abused me in the same way that my narcissistic upbringing had also hurt me. I met people in Eastern Europe, also travelers from New Zealand, Australia, Canada, America, also Western travelers. I met people there, if I shared my food with them, they'd remember, and the next day they'd share some of their food with me. Narcissistic people never do that. They don't play tit for tat. They play winner take all. And I was always the loser. Going homeless eventually saved my life.